Well, good morning, everyone. We are back again, and week 6 is over, and we go into a lot of bye weeks. A lot of different people are on byes, but as usual, we welcome Jimmy over in Phoenix and Jed over in the suburb of Illinois. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, let me ask you before we even start baseball playoffs with the Cubs and White Sox out. There's nothing better for me than MLB playoffs when your team is in it. But then I will have to say, with the Sox and the Cubs in there, I have zero clue what's going on in MLB playoffs.
Well, what you can do is watch former Cubs and how well they do. Last night,
Yes.
Kyle
Schwarber.
Schwarber with the huge hit off of Yu Darvish, both former Cubs. So that's what you can do is follow the former Cubs.
Kyle Schwarber, I don't know why the Cubs ever let him go. That guy was so good. I know he didn't have the batting average, but if you look at it, right, everywhere he went, he won.
Yeah. He signed the season for a 4-year, $80 million contract, which the Sox could have easily done, except Jerry Reinsdorf, being the cheapo that he is, never wants to pay anyone. So I think, but that's a reasonable deal. 4-year, $80 million is not bad.
So I used to, one of the girls that used to work for me at my old firm, like one of her best friends dated Schwarber. I don't know if they're still dating, but basically, so she hung out with a guy and she was like, he is exactly what you would expect. He drinks too much, smokes too much, and does not take care of his body. But man, he can go out there and hit. It's kind of fun.
He reminds me of like a Adam Dunn. Remember that guy? He played with the White Sox for a little bit. He reminds me of that.
Yeah.
But if he got a nutritionist, someone to help him watch his weight,
ain't gonna happen.
Look at LeBron. They say that he actually has a live-in chef, or James Harden switched over to that this year. Instead of eating fast food all day, you actually get leaner, you get faster, you're able to preserve your body a lot better.
Oh, that's what you and I might. Well, actually, I don't know if you and I would do that either. But if you just got a 4-year, $80 million contract, I don't know if you're going to do that either.
Yeah. One last question before we switch over. Joe Madden has expressed interest to be a coaching again in the major leagues. You think that he would be a good fit for the White Sox?
I don't think so. But who is it?
Jim Thome is slated as a favorite right now.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I heard that rumor. Jim Thome is like on one of the top candidates to be the manager.
Yeah, Jerry Reinsdorf loves his in-house person. The joke is Paul Konerko doesn't want to coach, so he's going to Jim Thome.
Madden has his own podcast these days. I was listening to some of it the other day. My guess they'll find somebody within the White Sox organization.
Yeah. Well, hey, let's go over to week 6 here as well, too. Before we start, Jed, how are you doing on your team?
It's been good actually. This past week I did really well. I won. I think I won all 4 leagues, and so I feel like my teams are coming around. Like I'm starting to. The main weakness for me has been tight end. I have just not hit because I either had Kyle Pitts or Darren Waller in pretty much every league, and so that's really hurt me. I'm hoping that Waller comes off the bye week, is a little bit healthy with his hamstring. But there's been some interesting, we could talk about that, some interesting things popping up. Like one I'll mention that kind of went under the radar, I think, is Travis Etienne. I think his number of carries is starting to pick up. And that team, as we've talked about, is a solid team. So, let's, but I'm happy right now. I'm sitting a couple leagues. I'm in like second or third, but I'm kind of sitting in the middle of the pack. In some of the others. Tommy, you need to get a win in one of our leagues. I think you're
the Walter White League.
Yeah.
Yes. I was 1 point away from winning. I was sitting in there. I said, all I need is one more point. Mike Boone, do something. Run something. And they kept giving it to Latavius Murray. I said, quit giving it to Latavius Murray.
Murray was one of the pickups this week. I think I saw, although I think, one of your favorite guys, Tommy, Kenyon Drake, I think was a very popular pickup after having over 100 yards for Baltimore. But you just have to see with the Dobbins, we'll have to see how that works out. But that was a popular pickup.
Yeah. Jim, how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I think I'm 50-50. There's one league I pay special attention to, and I am always projected to be one of the top winners in terms of points, projected points for that league. but I've been losing. I'm 1-5 right now in that league, and I'm so frustrated. Same with Tommy. I was 2 points close, and all I needed was Justin Herbert to have a decent game. But he ended up in 7 points this week, even though he threw like 50-something times. And so I'm a little frustrated. Like sometimes you look back on decisions you made. I was like, and I chose Justin Herbert over Josh Allen because I didn't want to pay the extra $10 for him, and I should have gone after him. Yeah.
Did you hear the controversy on Josh Allen and the basically like some people thought that it was like rigged, that the NFL kind of rigged it because apparently there was a huge prop bet for him getting 1 touchdown where you could get a pretty big payout.
Oh, really?
And he didn't end up getting a touchdown. So people were really mad.
Yeah. By the way, my Kyle Walker I picked up this week. I think he's going to be – he's one of those difference makers, I think, this year.
No, Kenneth Walker.
Yeah,
Kenneth Walker. Yeah.
I'm telling you, you know what? Again, Mike Boone in my other league, Jed, killed me because again I was 3 points, and all I needed was a Mike. What do you call it? Him to do really well, and he was terrible for me.
Boone didn't. How many points did he score? Like 2 or 3, right?
Mike Boone scored 0.9 points.
Oh, yeah. It was like nothing because. Yeah, they're right. They kept giving it to Murray in that game.
Look, this particularly we have IDPs. So I picked up Tranquil, and boy, he got me 15 points. I'm sitting there, I am so close. It got to the point we're headed into the 4th quarter. I'm 3 points. I'm sorry, all they're going to do is run it. Get me some points. All I need is 2 rushes for like 15 yards, and I got it. I didn't get it. I didn't get it.
That's been another one in our IDP. I had Shaq Leonard. I spent so much on Shaq Leonard, and he has played, I think, like 2 games.
Injured, right?
Yeah, so it's been horrible because I'm having to hold him he's taking up a bench spot. It's been such a waste. I regret. I think I spent like $25 on that guy.
You know who I think Tommy picked him up. You know who did well for me in one of my leagues? Deion Jackson.
No, but he's injured.
Oh, was that? Wait, I saw that he came back questionable. What happened to him?
Quad injury.
Oh, okay.
Yep, quad injury.
Yeah.
And he was very, very good. He could easily replace Nyheim Hines as your backup running back.
Yeah. But isn't Taylor coming back?
Mm-hmm.
He is, right?
Yep.
Deion Jackson did well. Hey, I got 15 points out of him. I don't care. This week.
All right, a couple of things, news and notes, and I want to talk a little bit with you guys. Marcus Mariota named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. A lot of quarterbacks are on bye this week. Aaron Rodgers is struggling. Tom Brady is struggling. Are you looking at Marcus Mariota at all? Kyle Pitts got his first touchdown this week through Marcus Mariota.
I'd like to see 2 weeks before I go in on that. They're playing the Bengals though, so it should be a lot of firepower in that game. So that's not a bad. Of course, I sat Pitts this week. That was and he finally scored. So I was like.
Well, Jed, I think you and I have Pitts and then also London in a number of games. And so we've seen how bad the Falcons can be playing because those two, outside of London for the first few weeks, they have not done anything. And so maybe Mariota is turning around the corner. I don't know. But I know that the coach, I want to see him commit to playing their 2-star players. And right now, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, even when we look at the running back breakdown, you have Huntley, 16 carries, 59 yards, 15 carries, 51 yards for Algier. And so a lot of times, no touchdowns. You don't know how well those guys are. Marcus Mariota is doing okay. But like Jed said, let's wait for a couple of weeks to see how well he does. But at the same time, Jed, are you even benching? If you have Brady and Rodgers, mostly Rodgers, not Brady, would you either consider a Marcus Mariota or, as we talk about my new favorite, Zeppi, playing against the Bears, would you play any of those guys over Rodgers?
Yeah. If I had Rodgers, I would definitely consider sitting him. It is a mess. It really is a mess in Green Bay. This is, every year we say this. We say, "Oh, Rodgers is not doing well," and then he turns things around. But man, it's hard to see, the route to that because they just don't have anyone to catch. The fact that Robert Tonyan was the leading, I think he had 12 attempts.
That
just shows you how bad it is. And so, no, I think I wouldn't drop him, but I would certainly bench him and consider somebody. And I'll just say Brady's been playing pretty good. So Brady, you should be sticking him in there, even though they're going through some ups and downs.
Well,
He should come back.
Yeah, even the last few weeks, right? Like Dobbs has essentially disappeared from the offense. Randall Cobb is owed. I mean, even AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, I thought they would essentially focus on the run, and those two would really be the primary people who would be getting some of the fantasy points. But you have, I mean, Aaron Jones this week scored 7 points. He's just, and AJ Dillon has essentially disappeared from the rotation.
If you look back at it, Devontae Adams, if he had stayed, is actually would have been in perfect situation with them. Him and Aaron Rodgers is a perfect connection. But yeah, look at how he's doing in Las Vegas. He's inconsistent. Derek Carr isn't able to get him the ball. He would have been better over at Green Bay.
Well, what you see to me is, and this is similar. This reminds me of AJ Brown, leaving Tennessee, which is that Devontae Adams really was Aaron Rodgers' bailout guy, right? Like when everything breaks down, throw up the ball. It's a 50-50, let Adams go for it. He doesn't have any. Exactly. And he doesn't have anybody like that now. And so there's no other options.
Sorry about that. On the flip side, San Francisco, Jim, right now it's turning out to be a bad trade. So far, I made a trade for Christian Kirk. I traded away Deebo Samuel for Christian Kirk. It has not been doing very well. Deebo Samuel has been doing decently well, even though Ayuk did get 2 touchdowns, 83 yards. He's actually on the wire in a bunch of different leagues. George Kittle got 83 yards. Jim, I saw that you dropped Jeff Wilson in one league. He only came out with 25 yards, but hey, look, I mean, Ayuk, Samuel, and Kittle seems to be doing okay.
You dropped Jeff Wilson? Is that in our league?
Yeah, I know it's in another league. I had to drop him. Yeah,
why did you drop him?
No, let me comment about them in a little bit, but let me tell you all the running backs. I am loaded in running backs.
Okay,
I had Kenneth Walker, Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, Eno Benjamin, and then also Brian Robinson.
Okay.
So I needed a receiver this week.
I would drop Eno Benjamin.
Yeah, I would have dropped Eno Benjamin.
I like Eno, but I think I think Elijah Mitchell's going to come back in a few weeks. So I'm taking a chance that that dropping him would actually be the best thing. So
I played Brandon Ayuk this weekend, by the way. Just want to say I got that one. That was perfect.
He's actually since what's his name? Since
Jimmy Garoppolo.
He's averaged 17 fantasy points.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. Once he came in, it was like, okay, they're going to start looking his way again. So
actually, as Tommy's talking, I'm looking through Ayuk right now just to kind of double check where he's at.
Hey, I am very hoping that George Kittle starts hitting soon because
yes,
that's what they need.
You guys remember I drafted 2 tight ends back to back, Darren Waller and then George Kittle, which has been killing me. But if Kittle picks it up now, then that's exactly how things are going to turn around for me. So that's what I need.
Yeah. Here we go. Kyler Murray, happy. DeAndre Hopkins is back. Hopkins has been sitting suspended. He's not even on IR in all my leagues. I'm glad that he's back. How well do you think he'll do, Jim?
I don't know about the first game, but that's 14 points that he's projected to score in each of the games. So I think coming in like this for midseason, I think you have a couple of Chris Godwin is starting to come in, show some potential. DeAndre Hopkins, Rondale Moore, I would imagine will still stay consistent, but they needed him, especially with Marquise Brown out.
Yeah, exactly. With Brown out, I think all the targets are there. Hopkins I think they're going to feed him right away. This is normally coming off injury. I tell people, wait 1 week and then see and then play. But this is not that situation. I'm playing him this week in all leagues.
No. Now, do you think a lot of times for this week specifically, are you playing him this week, his first game back? Or will you give him 1 week just to get settled and play him the following week?
No, exactly. I'm playing him this week. I think he's going to be fine. They're going to load him up. He's not coming off of an injury. He's been practicing with them. So I'm expecting to get a full, I would say at least 8 to 10 attempts.
Yep. Just so you know, Marquise Brown is out. At least they thought it was going to be out for the whole year. It looks like now it'll be 6 weeks or a good portion of the season. And so he's probably out. Robbie Anderson, Jed, let me ask you a quick question. I mean, he got kicked out of the game in Carolina. Next day, he's now being traded. Do you even look at Robbie Anderson, fresh start, all of that? He is a speedster. You're looking at him?
Yeah. He didn't get picked up yet, though, right?
No,
No,
he
he got
did.
traded to the
He got
Cardinals.
Oh, he did go to the Cardinals?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
The
Oh,
Cardinals.
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a perfect fit because he plays that Marquise Brown role. No, I mean I would still Hopkins and Rondell Moore definitely are the two guys. So that's somebody I would maybe sit and wait on. I don't know that I would even go out and pick him up and put him on my bench though, because he would be wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
Yep. Jim, on the flip side, Arizona played Seattle this week. Geno Smith did come down to earth, sacked 5 times, 197 yards. But the biggest story was the number one pickup, which someone in our keeper league paid $82 for him. Kenneth Walker. I know you have him in one league. Jed has him in one league. He did pretty well. 97 yards, 27 carries, 1 touchdown.
Jed, did you see how much David Best paid for that guy? Because I actually paid, I think I put in like, I don't know, $30 or $40.
Yeah, I put in 40.
Yeah, I was like, someone's going to come in maybe at 50, but I didn't want to spend that much money. But when I finally saw how much he got paid for, I was surprised how much that guy paid for him.
Well, he paid all that he had left. So he has 0 now, which is a really big problem because, well, I guess, you can still get waivers at $0. But
but that's the hard thing is, especially as you're coming into weeks where there's going to be so many players who are not playing. I was like, that's a risky. I mean, he's a great player, right? Like, I think he's going to be a difference maker. That's a lot of money to pay for him.
Yeah, no, but I agree. I think especially depending on where you are in the rankings, you're only going to get every season. There's 1 or 2 guys where break the bank off of the waivers because they're going to be a bona fide starter, can win you weeks, and this is, I think, one of those guys. So I think it's a good move.
But if he's a dynasty, right? I mean, you never know. He might turn out to be the running back that you want to focus on. But
for me, I still really like the Houston running back.
Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce. I think Pierce looks really good. That's the guy for keepers that I'm thinking about holding for a while.
Yep. I love Pierce. If I could get Pierce, I am all in on Pierce as well, too. All right, Jed, speaking of Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger on his podcast, Tom Brady did not look like he wanted to be out there versus the Steelers. We saw in many cameras and many TV how he was chewing out his offensive linemen. What do you think? Marriage issues affecting him? What do you think?
Of course. Just like all of us, if we have things going on at home that are messed up, turmoil, stress, how do you come into work and not bring some of that? So of course, but he's going to work it through. I mean, I still think, this is Tom Brady at the end of the day. He has a lot of weapons, and hopefully the team responds and kind of tries to help him out through this time. So again, if you have Brady though, this is still a guy that I think you can play top 10 quarterback. In my opinion, I'd still be playing him.
You know what his solution is, right, Jed? Easy solution. Call Rob Gronkowski.
There you go. Yeah, get Rob Gronkowski. That's a great idea.
Everything is always well when Gronk is back with them.
You know why they said that you can't call Gronk? He just signed a deal with Fox. So they said that's why they can't call him.
I can't wait to watch that. It'll be interesting to see. Like some guys, they have that great TV personality, and some guys are, it doesn't work. But I just love to try them out and see.
Yep. Jim, Aaron Rodgers, we need to simplify things in our mind, be better on the details. We just talked about that. I actually want to talk a little bit about the running game as well, too. A.J. Dillon, is he still someone that you want to start?
I mean, I still think that they have potential, right? I'm hoping what they're going to end up doing is realize that they can't rely on these receivers, and they're just going to focus in on the running game. There's a part of me that wonders if Aaron Rodgers even wants to do that. But if they're going to win, they're going to have to focus on Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And right now, I mean, Jones had nothing. He's scored in the single digits the last 2 weeks, and he's not done anything fantasy-wise since that Chicago Bears game.
By the way, Jed, as we talked about, where Sammy Watkins is, right?
No, where is he?
Injured list.
Oh.
Injured
I mean,
list.
they've got so many people injured. I mean, that's why I bet Tonyan's getting all the points, because he's one of the few reliable options that they have out there.
I picked up Tonyan in one league because exactly for that reason.
I do like a Lazard. He has, out of everyone, even more than Dobbs and everything, he has been doing okay. He has gotten touchdowns in each of the last 2 games.
He just drops balls. That's the problem. Every game I watch, there's at least two catchable balls that Lazard doesn't make. So that's the main issue.
Yeah. Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston remains limited in Tuesday practice. Jed, a couple of things. And the reason I put down is talk to me about Taysom Hill. Talk to me about Michael Thomas.
Taysom Hill, I tried to get him across all the leagues 2 weeks ago and failed. Again, that weird designation of tight end and quarter, really is I think to his benefit now. And they're just basically desperate. Like who you're going to go to. So I like Taysom Hill at the tight end position if you can get him. Yeah. Is Thomas back this week, or was he back last week?
He's limited. Are you ready to just drop him and put down waivers?
Yeah, I feel like Thomas is not the guy. Again, it's Olave. I know he's been hurt, but that's not.
I think Olave is the number 1 receiver now. Don't you think? Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more. Russell Wilson, Jim, again, shoulder, now MRI on his hamstring.
Yeah, I think if you were to list the 2 biggest disappointments from a quarterback's perspective, Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Because Wilson, if you think about it, he's got Cortland Sutton. He's got Jerry Jeudy. He's got Hambler. Plus, he had Javonte Williams starting the season. And right now, he was one quarterback who I was really thinking is going to do well this year because he was going to prove himself. But he's just not done good. I mean, he did do pretty decent in the game this past week where he had some good throws, but he spread it out. He didn't just go for Jeudy and Sutton, and he spread it out. His tight end actually looked pretty decent. But I think there's other quarterbacks you can go for out there.
Yep. Jed, I want to save this last one for you because I think New England found its new Tom Brady. Bailey Zappi. He is playing Monday Night Football against the Bears. He's pretty good.
Wait, Tom, you think they're gonna dump Mac Jones for this guy?
He's been looking pretty good. He's got over 27 points.
Yeah.
So I've been reading some interesting speculation. I've seen both hypotheses. So one is Belichick plays whoever performs, he plays. He doesn't worry about draft status. He doesn't worry about, any other noise. It's just whoever deserves to play is who plays. And that's why Bailey Zappi is the guy, and he will be for the rest of the season. So that's one storyline I've heard. But the other I heard, which was interesting or read, was that they were having some problems with Mac Jones, that apparently his head was getting a little big and before the injury, and that this was a little bit of a message to him to say, hey, we can do this with anyone else. You need to shape up. But that they're still interested in Mac Jones over Zappi. So that's kind of interesting. Talent wise, personally, I thought Zappi, I watched that first game when he came in for the injury, and I was just shocked. I mean, it reminded me of Brady because he was ice cold, like just did not seem fazed by anything in the game, seemed like he belonged there. And so I really liked him. My son, who's a Patriots fan, he's a big fan too, and feels like exactly what you're saying here, that Zappi could be the next Brady.
Oh, man, I am going to go out on a limb and say that Zappi's going to start. I think he's actually going to have a very good showing against the Bears on Monday Night Football.
Everybody has a good showing against the Bears, especially on Monday nights.
No, Carson Wentz did not have a good showing. He was terrible against the Bears.
Yes.
I mean, think about the team that Zappi has right now. Ramondre Stevenson is clicking and doing well. They got that rookie that just came back a couple of games ago who scored 2 touchdowns, Tyquan Thornton. Jacoby Myers is pretty consistent. Hunter Henry,
they got involved in the mix.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. My only thing is I always thought that because of his relationship with Saban, and Saban was the one who recommended Mac Jones, that they weren't going to dump him so fast.
I don't think Belichick cares about anything like that.
Yeah, agree. If you have Ramondre Stevenson, and I know Jimmy, you are on him really early. I mean, boy, he looked great. And but
I dumped him. Like I traded him early on because I was like, I'm not going to deal with this dual-headed.
You traded him too, right, Jed? Me.
No, I think he's perfect for the second half. I mean, I would be sticking Ramondre Stevenson in there for the second half of the year consistently. I just feel like they're going to feed him. He looks great.
Sometimes during these seasons, like I get disappointed, right? Because you look back on trades that you shouldn't have made, or even trades that you make. Ramondre Stevenson is one of those people that I wish I kept. I can't remember who I traded him for, but Yeah.
Well, don't worry. Tommy had the all-time save by having the league block his trade of Cam Akers or Miles Sanders for Cam Akers with me, and the league blocked us, and that totally saved his butt because
Yeah,
now
yeah.
Cam Akers is not even going to be playing football.
No,
Okay,
no, no.
yeah.
I still believe in Cam Akers. Remember what he did in the playoffs a couple of years ago. You put him on a new team, and I think they're trying to trade him right now, or they're going to release him. You put him on a new team, I think he's going to do well.
I actually agree with that. I actually have kept him in one or two of my teams because I do think they're going to figure out how to trade him, and I actually think he'll be pretty decent for whoever comes in for that team.
My dream is that he would be traded to the Buffalo Bills, and he's going to run like crazy. That is my hope.
Well, we got to see where Christian McCaffrey lands. That was the rumor. You probably have a slide for it, Tommy. But if McCaffrey lands with the Bills, that was supposedly one of the teams. I was like, geez, that is insane. Like that would be perfect.
Actually, I'm done with my slides. I was going to talk about waiver pickups as well too, and see what you guys thought.
Yeah. Who was it? I saw that you got. Did you pick up? You got Brian Robinson in one of our leagues, right? I'm glad. I think he's actually going to be a pretty decent running back.
Oh yeah, no, I had been holding Robinson where I could, just on the injured list, and I thought he looked great. And the fact, it's weird because Antonio Gibson, I don't know what happened. They're definitely higher on Robinson. He got a majority share of the carries. So if you waited for Robinson, I think he will pay out. You know, we could take a look at who he's playing, but I would be starting him this week.
If you want to pick, if you want to pick up a good running back, I actually think Robinson's somebody that I'd be willing to take the risk on.
Speaking of the Washington Commanders, Carson Wentz facing a 4 to 6 week recovery. Taylor Henke is coming in. I actually think that what's his face? Who's the star wide receiver from Ohio State? Terry McLaurin may do better under Heineke than he is under Wentz.
Yeah, that's not a bad thought. I mean, it's an interesting game for them. They got Green Bay coming into Washington this week. That's a winnable game, the way Green Bay has been playing. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Although I think, Green Bay's got 2 straight losses, right? That was the first time in a long time. So we'll have to see.
I've been actively trying to trade McLaurin, but I've decided to keep him and just see how he does, because I actually think that they're going to do pretty well. The other person, Curtis Samuel, I actually think, because that was the knock against Taylor Heineke, is that he throws a lot of these short passes, he dumps them off. And so I think a Curtis Samuel will average double-digit points fantasy-wise for a quarterback like him.
And another thing to look out for me, a lot of times, Dak Prescott is coming in. Pay attention to Michael Gallup and Dalton Schultz, who's on the waiver wire in some leagues. And so a lot of times I would actually pick him up just to see how Dak Prescott does.
Well, especially Dalton Schultz, right? Because Dalton Schultz has always been the person that he looks for, along with Gallup. So I agree with you.
The only issue with Schultz is he's coming off injury, and so their earlier reports are that he's not going to play in week 7. So that would be the only caution. But I agree that if you're looking at tight end, you may even pick him up and then stash him for a week. And let me just say too, this is the time of year you're going to see a lot of people drop people who are on bye weeks. Sometimes that's a sneaky pickup. You pick up somebody on a Monday or before, or on a Saturday, like you put in your waiver wire for before the game start, so that you can get someone who they drop coming off a bye, and you just have them on your bench, and then you get to have them for the next week.
I remember my best pickup last year. I was scanning the waiver wires. Oh, it was our Walter White league. And someone dropped A.J. Brown during one of those weeks, and I picked them up fast. I was like, why did they drop A.J. Brown for? But I guess last year with the quarterback situation, he wasn't as consistent.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of that, in our short time left, we have a couple more minutes as well, too. Can we talk a little about NBA? The NBA started yesterday, and then for today, all of the games are slotted. We could easily talk about Doncic, Trae Young, Kevin Durant, all those guys. Who is one player that people should be paying attention to that may not be on anyone's radar? A rookie, another slot player, second-year player, all of that stuff. Who are you guys looking at?
Well, you guys know that. I mean, I don't know that like everyone knows that the number 1 pick, Paolo. I mean, I just want to see how he did. I paid a lot for him and just want to see like how he plays out. I mean, it's basically like a lottery ticket. He's going to get all the opportunity in, Orlando. The one big thing I would say, any of these rookies or sophomores that you're looking at, the big thing to think about or to examine is the minutes available. Like that is really what drives a lot of fantasy output. Is they need to be at least in the 25 like plus minute category to really have an impact. And so you got to make sure that those minutes are available. So you want to look more at the bottom feeding teams. But yeah, I would say, and then
And wouldn't you say a lot of times, Dad, is you're looking at the teams that are quote unquote tanking. And as a result, they're playing like Indiana Pacers are going to tank. They're looking at Miles Turner's. They're looking at trading Buddy Hield. So as a result, they're going to play Halliburton. But they're also going to look at Benedict Mathurin as a person they're looking at. Oklahoma is another team that will tank. Eventually, don't be surprised if Alexander gets a knee injury and now he has to be out for the season or out for so many games. So as a result, you look at, I wish I'm pronouncing his name, Pokovetsky, who's a small forward, power forward, center. Those are the guys that I'm looking with as well, too. And I think a lot of times versus the Lakers, who doesn't play a lot of rookies, or even Golden State, who will not get a lot of rookie time. Yeah, Jim, who are you looking at?
I'm just looking at right now. There's actually, you're right. There's a couple of players on Houston. You got Eason, the small forward, power forward, and then also Kevin Porter, who just signed a multi-year deal with Houston. So there's actually a Jabari Smith, right? There's a number of players on Houston I've been trying to pay attention to who are rookies that I don't know how well they'll do, but I think if you can pick the right one, and all of them are on waivers right now, I think they might be good people that you want to stash away or keep.
Jim, there's two teams I would really pay attention to. Not as much as the team that you're looking at with Houston. I pay attention to Utah Jazz because Colin Sexton is probably your primary scorer. We all know Markkanen. He is so inconsistent. Who's going to be your second scorer? Who's going to be your rebounder? So I'm paying attention to Utah Jazz. I'm also going to pay attention to the San Antonio Spurs because they traded DeJounte Murray. Is Vasso going to be the guy?
Keegan Murray, right?
Yeah, or Keldon Johnson. Hey, they're all tanking for Wembanyama. So as a result, who's going to block shots? Who's going to get rebounds? So even though they're boring teams, you're scouting those teams to figure out who you can pick up.
I actually think that a Markkanen, Utah might actually be pretty good. I can see him being a pretty decent fantasy player this year. But you're right, he's pretty inconsistent, but he's shown flashes and potential.
And don't forget Zion. Don't forget Zion.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I didn't watch last night, so I didn't see if he played, but I want to watch and see what he looks like. But I think this guy has a real chip on his shoulder. I think he's pretty mad about how everyone has portrayed him last year, and that's one guy that I'd put some chips on him.
Zion.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? For you guys, one person that everyone seems to be down on, Anthony Simons. He did really, really well post CJ McCollum, and when Damian Lillard was out. What are you guys' thoughts for Anthony Simons going into Portland?
I could see him being more almost like a Gary Trent type of guy, right? He's never going to be the number one, but he'll be a pretty consistent number two, number three player. The only thing is last year, if you've noticed, whenever Lillard is on the plane, Simons, he just didn't do too well, right? And I think he's the type of player who I think, right, he needs the ball in his hands. And Lillard, when he's out there, he's usually the dominant person who's got the ball. And so I think that's why a lot of people have just been a little hesitant about picking him up so high.
Yeah. Well, NBA starts today, then Thursday Night Football, then we're back to Sunday again. Amazon announced they're doing a Black Friday special for the NFL this year. And so there's going to be a lot of sports. Major League Baseball, if you're into it, that's also there as well, too. Any other lasting thoughts as we wrap up?
Wait, what's a Black Friday special for Amazon?
Black Friday, they're doing a game.
Oh, they are? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. It was funny on I don't know if you guys caught that on Sunday night. One of the commentators gave a little bit of shade to Amazon because the score was really low, and he was like, and he said on the broadcast, he said, "Wait, is it Thursday or Sunday?" I was like, "Oh, that was a good one."
Well, who is it? They keep making fun of Al Michaels and Herb Street because they were saying they went from doing the premier games, right? And now they got all these crappy team playing on Thursday nights.
Oh, the Thursday night games are boring. They're
Yeah,
just low
horrible.
scoring.
Yeah, horrible.
Yeah. And there is something to say that the body just doesn't heal. I mean, you play on Sunday and now suddenly you're playing on Thursday. The soreness and all that stuff, man, it is rough watching Thursday night games.
If a player is playing on Thursday night, do you guys think about whether or not you would play that person?
That's interesting. So I have done that for Monday night. I fully believe that players know Monday night we're the only game in town, and that's when the superstars come out. But man, I haven't thought about Thursday. But that's a good point. Maybe you kind of downgrade a little bit because
I'm more hesitant if I have to decide between a player that's playing on Monday, Sunday versus a Thursday. I will usually not choose a Thursday player.
Yeah, that's smart. I agree.
Yeah. All right. One more last question before we wrap up. Off the topic, 2 movies are coming up, blockbusters. Marvel with the next Black Panther. DC this week with Black Adam. Which one will be better in your opinion?
Hopefully Black Panther. I mean, I love Black Panther. Oh, I'll say too, I watched the Jeremy Lin documentary. I don't know if you guys
is it pretty good?
Got that. So it depends on what you're looking for. It's not a sports documentary. Like I was hoping it would be like all about footage of kind of, lots of game footage and how he played. And it's really an explanation of why for so many Asian Americans, he meant so much. They basically explains to a non-Asian American audience why this was such a big deal. Yeah. And it does a very good job of that, but it's not like I watched it with my 17-year-old son. And he was kind of like, basically he was like, Dad, I wanted to see him break ankles.
Oh yeah.
And we didn't see him break. I mean, he had there were some good shots, but that wasn't the focus. But I liked it. It's short. It's only like 30-some minutes.
Yeah. Who was it? Dan Patrick was saying that one of the things he wanted the documentary to explore was the relationship between Carmelo and him.
Yes.
Right. And so they asked him, he did an interview and they asked Jeremy Lin, what was your relationship with Carmelo during that time? And Lin said he's never spoken to Carmelo. He heard rumors that he didn't want him there, especially towards the end, but he and Carmelo never spoke about the situation.
If you really look at it, Carmelo and Kobe both never fully treated Jeremy as like one of their guys. Like it never happened. And it was just, to me, it's just a threat, right? It was just too much of a threat in both cases.
Well, Lin did say, he said Kobe never said anything. When he scored all those points against the Lakers, he said Kobe just walked off the court, right? It wasn't until he got to the Lakers where he said Kobe came up to him one day in practice and said, good game against us. And that was it.
Wait, Jeremy Lin was at the Lakers?
Yeah, he was. He was on a lot of teams, that guy.
Yeah.
I remember him on Golden State. I remember him on
Dallas.
New York. I didn't realize he was on the Lakers.
Yeah, Golden State, Dallas.
He won a championship with the Lakers.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, he didn't. He wasn't on the championship team.
Oh, he wasn't.
He got his championship with Toronto.
Oh,
yeah. He was on the Lakers team when Kobe was out with an injury, and they basically kind of were tanking. And actually, he took a lot of heat from Kobe. That's why I don't think Kobe really liked Jeremy.
Yeah. They asked him why do you think you didn't really make it so long in the league? And he says 2 things. One, he got injured, if you remember, and he said he was never the same. And 2, he says there were certain players in the league that he felt like just didn't want him there.
Yeah, no, there's no question that he still faced even after Linsanity, because remember, he went to the G League and led the G League in scoring. Like he was essentially the number 1 guy who all previous years that guy had been picked up by a team. He didn't get a single call. So I mean, he basically just still faced the same things. Yeah.
But I did go back after that interview and watch a bunch of the Linsanity games, at least highlights. And during those 2 weeks, right? I mean, he's not only did he score so many points, but did you see how many people came out just to cheer him on in each of these stadiums?
Yeah. So he still holds the record for most points scored in the first 5 games of your career. He holds the NBA record. So hopefully that'll be something that sticks.
Interesting. All right. Hey, Wednesday, we will be back on Friday. So I'll probably see you guys later.